Hey everyone, good afternoon again. My name is Bill Ikest. I want to welcome you to day 4 of the Georgia hfma 2022 Virtual Payer Forum. We should be getting started here momentarily. I've got Mary Acosta from Anthem, who is going to be presenting for Anthem. Her computer works. She was able to connect. I don't have to drive for her, but I will of course be here as a backup if she needs it. But with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mary at this time. So Mary, thank you so much. You're a senior provider experience manager with Anthem, and we appreciate you being with us today. I want to encourage all of you to put any questions that you have in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen, and we'll do our best to address those questions as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. I look forward to presenting a little information from the Georgia Provider Experience team. So there we go. Today, we're going to discuss how our provider experience consultants can help you, how you can submit claim inquiries, some of the self-service tools that are available for you, a little bit about AIM, and then our Georgia Provider newsletter. So to meet the service needs of our providers, I'd like to sort of begin by explaining the roles and responsibilities of our team in particular. So the provider experience consultants are here to meet the needs of the providers and the facilities. We assist with a broad scope of provider needs, including contract questions, training, education on Anthem products, programs, and tools, provider orientation, and fee schedule requests. So you might be asking, well, how do I get in touch with these fantastic provider experience members? If you go out to our website, you can visit anthem.com and choose providers, then contact us under communications. You'll see it up there. When the contact us page loads, you'll see a link that says provider experience team in the middle of the page, and that'll open up this web form here on the screen. You'll need to enter your contact information and the type of provider that you are, enter your practice name, your primary location zip code, and your tax ID and NPI, and then we ask for you to enter the category that you are what you're inquiring about. So if it's claims, if it's demographics, whatever it might be, we ask you to enter that, and then a really detailed message on what it is that you're asking for, so that if it's something we need to call you about, we'll have the information ready when we call you, and that sort of thing. So once you have all of that information entered into the screen, you'll just hit submit. You'll receive an auto response with a case number. This is a rather new process for us, so we're still working through it, and we appreciate the patience that many of you have shown as we all get accustomed. But you will receive a case number, and we will respond back to you via email and, of course, via phone call if that's necessary. So, whoops, sorry, you guys, I'm just moving right along fast. Sorry about that. All right. So, save your case number. If you need to reach back out or you need additional assistance, we'll need that to track the issue. That's what we're using to track and trend and that sort of thing. So that's how you get in touch with us. Should you have claim issues, we do ask that all claims, any inquiries that are related to your claim payments, you should go to Availity or Anthem Customer Service. You would use the phone number on the back of the member's ID card for the information if you're not able to get assistance in Availity. If you aren't able to get support through Availity or customer service, you will need to request a supervisor. If they're not available, they will contact you back within the 2 business days. You need the call reference number for when you call. You'll need to hang on to that because we can't accept your escalation without that call reference number. I also strongly suggest you ask for that call reference number at the beginning of your call in the event that you get disconnected. You have to use this escalation process in order for us to escalate on your behalf. we aren't able to accept claims that don't follow the process and that don't have that call reference number. So some of the information, once you go through all of that, that we will need is a detailed description of the issue, your provider identification information, such as your MPI, your TIN, and your name, all affected claim numbers, or a sampling of claim numbers. We typically ask, if it's more than one claim, we typically ask for at least 5 to 10 examples, just depending on what the issue is. But your provider experience representative will assist with how many. We need the member ID with the alpha prefix, the date of service, the total billed amount, and of course that call reference number that you received. We are not able to accept claim escalations without all of this information. We have a template that we will supply to you. We ask that you fill that template out in the format that we send it to you. That's what we have to, when we escalate to our provider issue resolution team, that's the format that they need in order to research and work through the issues. So now there are a wide variety of self-service tools to improve the healthcare experience, and I'd kind of like to go over a few of those today to help through some of the issues that we're seeing that providers are having. The first is the provider maintenance form. It's an online form used to request demographic and practice profile changes for our doctors, practitioners, and professional provider records. Some examples of changes to report via the PMF include provider name changes, address changes, opening or closing a practice location, or provider leaving a group practice. The provider maintenance form can't be used to add new providers who require credentialing or new groups that need to join the Anthem network and would require a contract. That's a whole different process, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But to learn more about the credentialing, you can check that out on our website. If you go to the Anthem website, you'll choose the menu, support providers, begin application, and you'll see all of that information there. You are able to submit attachments such as a W-9, license copies, and your provider roster. We do ask if you are submitting a roster, you include 5 providers or more. You'll submit that as a roster. You'll see that in the drop-down box in the actual provider maintenance form. Once you submit your provider maintenance form, you will receive a tracking number. It starts with a P, and we ask you to hold on to that. That way, should you have questions about it or need a status on it and contact us, we'll be able to track that easily for you. So you're able to use the PMF to make changes to an individual provider record or organization records. You would select individual, obviously, to make changes for a person's update, the language that they speak, the days and hours that you work, the specialty, license updates, etc. For organization, for the 5 or more providers, you could use your roster, or if you've got organization changes to make, say you move your office and that sort of thing, you could do those changes for your actual organization. Some changes you can make on the individual provider records are listed here on the screen. Please note that submission of additional documents or information is required for licensure, certification updates, specialty updates, and name changes and updates. I'll leave that for you just to look at quickly. The change submissions are always a request for action. Many updates can be made without review or approval. However, some might require some additional details or documents or some sort of process. An Anthem representative will outreach by email or phone if additional information is needed. You may get an email saying, hi, we've received your your submission, but we have some additional questions. So just make sure you keep an eye out for that and that you answer those as timely as possible. For terminations, we ask that you refer to your agreement for the terms of your termination. We require an advance notice of at least 30 days for an effective date. Providing advance notice of a change will help us ensure a timely update. For all hospital-based providers, effective dates will be the same as the date of your submission. So for example, if you submit on April the 1st, the effective date for your hospital-based providers will be April the 1st. We do not offer retroeffective dates, so don't request it. When it asks you for the effective date, you should use the date, today's date, or a date into the future. All changes made on the form will apply to the individual person entered or the location entered under the organization name. Once you've selected the fields which you wish to update, you'll enter the details. And when adding a new detail, you can click on the plus field for additional entry fields as needed. So it'll add an additional line or whatever, so you can add additional phone numbers, fax numbers, that sort of thing, until you've entered all the information that needs to be updated. Many selections offer a quick search function in the drop-down choices, so just start typing to narrow the search. Some fields will auto-populate with information to ensure accuracy. Attach any necessary documentation to support your request, such as a W-9 for an remittance address change and name changes, copy of updated licenses, and that sort of thing. All of those you'll be able to attach right there in the upload file section. After completing all the necessary fields, make sure to review your submission page carefully to ensure you've got the information correct and accurate. And then you'll need to attest to validate the entries are true and correct by checking the box and selecting the submit button. Obviously, you have to click the attest box before that submit button shows up. So if you're having issues there, also want to make sure that you use open this provider maintenance form in Chrome. It works best there and not in Internet Explorer. So once you submit, you'll receive an email with the change request reference number, which is that P number that I spoke about earlier. You'll need to hang on to that. It will be provided, that email will come to whomever filled out the form or the contact person that was listed in the provider maintenance form. So I suggest you keep a track of it. It's not going to tell you who you submitted it for. So you might want to make yourself a note or a reference that P-783 was for Dr. Bill. So you'll know which one it is, especially if you submit several. Then once your provider maintenance form is worked and it has been completed, if you don't receive any additional, requests for follow-up, you will receive a completion email saying that your change has been processed, and to feel free to contact if you've got additional updates to provide, which obviously would be yet another provider maintenance form submission. Also, make sure to keep those for your records, those completion notice. A few reminders about provider maintenance forms. I am going to go over these. You can't use it to add new individual providers who require credentialing. Those will be closed out. You will be directed to the digital provider enrollment platform in Availability.
Hey, Mary, can I interrupt you for just a second? A question that just came through related to what you're talking about. If we submit, the attendee asks, if we submit a delegated file every month, we would not use the provider maintenance form, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. No, that could very well change at some point, but as for right now, if you are a delegated provider, your process as it is today continues as it is with no changes to that. Okay. These are for providers who are not delegated. Mm-hmm. Yep. And again, this is thank you. That's a great question. And this is the tool for providers who are not delegated, who don't require credentialing or contracts. So these are established providers, established groups, that sort of thing. Some of your hospital-based providers you can submit here who don't require credentialing and that sort of thing. Back to our reminders, you make sure to attach your documents. So if you've got a spreadsheet for rosters, if you're doing 5 or more providers, or any of your supporting documentation, such as licenses, W-9s, that sort of thing. We do require that 30-day notice, advance notice for an effective date. So make sure you get your submissions in timely. We do not provide retro dates. So if you submit something today, don't request a 3/1 date yet. We are not able to give those. And again, for the hospital-based providers, the effective date is typically the same date as the PMS submission. Make sure to attest and validate your entries that are true and correct, checking the box and submitting that, or selecting that submit button. And then that final message will be sent to the contact email address to notify you when the update has been completed. So make sure you keep note of that number and provide this reference number should there be a need in the future if you have to reach out for us for tracking. It just helps us to find things quickly so that we're able to help you a little faster. So we were talking about the provider maintenance form. Again, you'll go to anthem.com, click on providers, and then you'll see provider maintenance. You'll click that and then click the provider maintenance form. And it takes you straight to the online form. And I'll be happy to provide the link should anyone need it as soon as we finish the presentation. So for those providers who are new and require either contracts or credentialing or both, in November 2019, we added some new functionality to the Georgia's provider enrollment tool on in Availity, and we call that digital provider enrollment. The tool was created for professional providers whose organizations don't have a delegated credentialing agreement with us. Providers who submit via roster or have delegated agreements will continue to use their process in place. So yay for whoever asked that question that had the foresight. You can add providers in the digital provider enrollment who require credentialing to an existing contracted group, and you can apply and request a contract if you're not contracted with us, or if you've got a new group to contract. You get real-time status on your submitted applications there in Availity, which is wonderful. And then after review, they are able to send those contracts out digitally for electronic signatures, and that eliminates the need for paper applications and contracts. So to access the digital provider enrollment, you'll log into the Availity portal under Payer Spaces. You'll go to Anthem, and then Applications and Provider Enrollment to begin that process. If you're not currently registered for the Availity portal, the person in your organization that's designated as the administrator should go to Availity and select Register, and then they'll be able to get you registered. For organizations already using the Availity portal, the administrator should go to the account dashboard from the Availity homepage to register new users and update and unlock accounts for existing users. Staff who need access to the provider enrollment tool should be assigned the provider enrollment permission. And those who are already using Availity need access should work with their organization's administrator to update their Availity role. And if you need to find out who your administrator is, you can go to your account dashboard and look at your administrators, or my administrators is how it shows up. The credentialing process takes about 100, and the enrollment process takes about 120 days, and you'll receive those updates there in the portal. So some of the other self-service tools that are available on Availity, you're able to check eligibility verification, where you can view and print batch eligibility and benefits. You can check your appeal status. There's the claim status inquiries, the clear claim connection, claim dispute, which is new for all lines of business, the remittance viewer, which allows you to view and search and reconcile your ERAs or 835 data, and then of course the provider chat. The provider chat is a little bit newer. It is the digital provider services alternative to calling. Chat, it just gets better and better. It started out a little rocky, but they are really working to make this a streamlined sort of process for you, so that you're able to go in and chat. You'll log into Availity and go to Payer Spaces and then chat with Payer, and you see it highlighted over here with the little red arrow. There's a pre-chat form you'll need to fill out, and then you can start your chat experience. And hang on to that information as well in case we need to reference it later down the road should you have to escalate claims or that sort of thing. The newest of the self-service tools is this claim dispute. You're able to submit a claim payment dispute electronically for Anthem commercial members. You can support your documentation to support your dispute can be digitally uploaded. Your dispute inquiries are digitally available on your dashboard. You can retrieve your correspondence related to the dispute through your dashboard, and a digital history for electronically filed disputes is conveniently located in one place. There's a two-step claim dispute process. The first is the claim payment reconsideration, which is your initial request, and then the appeal. So if you disagree with the outcome of the reconsideration, you can request additional review. And then you'll receive your determinations electronically. You can register for training by logging into availity.com, select help and training, get trained, and pick a session that's convenient for you. They do provide live trainings, and I have sat through a couple, and they're really wonderful. So I really highly recommend those. But again, that's at availity.com, help and training, and then get trained. And you can see, when they have webinars and that sort of thing. So check it often. All right, you can check your appeal status, which in order to use this feature, you would have needed to start your appeal online, but you're able to check your clinical appeal status with an interactive care reviewer. Remember that you must start the appeal online to use the feature. To access the ICR, you'd log into Availity, then select patient registration, then authorizations and referrals. In the menu bar, you'll select check appeal status and type the appeal case ID using all characters, including dashes. Then you'd enter your member ID. Another useful self-service tool is the Clear Claim Connection. It's a tool for evaluating clinical coding information. This tool provides information according to the claim editing system logic on the date of the provider's inquiry. Providers must review and accept the terms and conditions of use prior to reviewing your data. And again, you can see that it's got the little heart icon next to it and right there in your little dashboard. So you'll be able to click on that and go right in. And then again, I can't say enough good things about the help and training on Availity. You'll look under help and training, it's up towards the top, and then find help. You can search topics and select payer help to understand processes for product requests and such as that. And then if you need support, you can choose your support tickets to create a help ticket or view existing tickets. All right, now we're going to talk just a little bit about AIM. AIM is the specialty benefit company that supports Anthem, managing non-emergent outpatient facility, non-facility-based services such as radiology, cardiology, sleep, radiation oncology, musculoskeletal, genetic testing, and cancer treatment pathways. If you need to contact AIM, you can log into your provider portal at aimspecialtyhealth.com and enter Anthem, select pre-certification and pre-authorization. For online support, if you're having issues with the portal, you can call AIM at 1-800-252-2021. Additional self-service tools that are available on our website include Georgia Provider News. You can register to receive all the provider news via email. I highly recommend you sign up to receive news if you're not already getting it. The Georgia newsletters typically come out on the first day of the month, and they come straight to you via email. That way you can see all the updates, any changes, or notifications that we are sending out right in your email box. If you'd like to go back and look for previous email, you can do that as well. In order to register, you would need to go to the website, and again, I'll send this out, so you'll have all of this after the meeting. But you just click on the link and then register with your email address and your provider information, and those will come straight to you.
Mary, I have a question, if that's all right.
Yep, sure.
One of the attendees said we've run into an issue where we have an increase in authorization denials when we have the interactive tool printout that showed authorization was not required. Since the Availity tool does not allow for medical necessity review, how are these dispute reconsiderations handled? Because typically these type of denials end up being reviewed for medical necessity after we have proved our extenuating circumstance. Is the appeal with medical records forwarded to the appropriate team for review?
They should be, and that information you should be able to find in the manual, but I think examples would help us most with that sort of thing. So if you'd like to get with Bill, if you could get me their contact information, yes, so that we could reach out and get some examples, I think that would be helpful.
Yep. Would it be all right if I gave her your email? I don't want to I don't want to deal with any PHI myself. So let me just give her your email.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, example always, and I can't stress enough, when you have issues like that, it's always best for us to back into them with examples. It is very difficult because we sort of quarterback issues, right? So we don't really fix things. We just kind of help in getting things to where they need to go. And so examples always helps us, because that helps us so that we can back in. And right, one of the best ways to get that information to us again is, like we talked about at the very beginning, through that new web form that we have, because that is, we're able to pick up on trends. Like if several of you are sending in saying, hey, we're getting all these, crazy things are happening with Availity, or all of our claims are saying, they're not medically necessary or whatever, that we're just able to track and trend that sort of thing. So that helps us a lot. If you can use the web form to send that stuff in, is way even better. But of course, for this, I'll certainly give my email address, and we'll get that to where it needs to go. No problem. Thank you for that question. So this is the very last slide, and then we'll move on to any questions about the presentation. So for old news, for yesterday's news, all of our previous newsletters are out here on the website. If you go to the website here on the screen, you'll be able to access all of the previous provider news publications. and, you know, all the policies, programs, claim filing, products, any kind of administrative updates, new guidelines, pharmacy information, all of that stuff is out there. There is a wealth of information out here in the provider news. Also a really great place to go. And if you've not gone out and pulled the manual, I can't recommend that enough as well. I go out there, use the manual all the time. A lot of the information questions that we get is actually located in the manual. So have that, you know, where you're able to check through it. You can actually do a control find and search in there for keywords for certain things. So I can't recommend that either. That's just wonderful enough. I can't recommend it enough. All right. So that's just a few things that we have to offer. Thank you. I appreciate y'all's time today, and I hope you found some of this information helpful. If you've got questions on what was presented today, I'll be happy to assist with any of those that I can.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let me see if we've got some questions.
Stop the share so I can see up here in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if we've got some things. Hang on here a second. I think I missed a couple. Yeah. Our appeals for finalized claim denials are being sent back stating that we should have sent them to AIM. However, the current provider manual and all previous manuals show that a finalized claim denial for any reason is supposed to be sent to grievance and appeals team. Also, we have not received any provider communications citing a change in the process for finalized claim denials to indicate that AIM now needs. Can you give some clarification on that?
Again, I'd have to see some examples. That one, it's just hard for me to answer without the context behind it. And I know that's a hard thing to do, but I really have to have examples so I can kind of see what's going on.
Okay, I gave them your contact information.
So I see my I see my email address out there.
Yeah. That's for them to send Christmas cards too. So, we'll.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So let's see here. So for referral request, Anthem was removed, then added back. Now it's been removed again. Is there an issue with this? This is causing a problem with our front staff and having to call to get the referrals now for a lot of our patients. Are you familiar with this issue, Mary? And do you have any information about it?
Not familiar. This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay. Tell us, if you would, the person asking the question, tell us how recently this has started happening, if you can.
Tiffany Patton, this PowerPoint, I will, if Bill,
yeah, I'm going to take care of that.
Provide me.
No, I've got it. I'm going to get it.
Because I'll be happy to. Okay.
Let me check one other thing here. I know we got to have a few more questions, right? There's just. Let's see.
It was fixed for a month and then removed last month.
Oh, okay.
Amy, where are you? Where are we for your referral request? In Availity? Yeah, I've not heard that, which is strange. So Amy, if you could just shoot me an email, let's see if you've got some screenshots, we can see if we can help you with that.
Okay. And let's see, did we miss one? Looks like we might have.
I'm scrolling with you, Bill.
Tyler says that he has their pre-services team use both the Ability tool and the pre-cert list to double check. However, we see that our system, we see that issue at his system as well. He's in Savannah. So just wanting to make sure that the appeal is forwarded to the appropriate team for review. That made sense. I just want to make sure I get this question documented. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that we, let's see. How do we obtain assistance with claims that a pre or post audit has occurred causing a variance? The CSRs are not familiar with CIRRUS and can't provide information.
Fill out your web, if you could submit via the web form, we can send out the claims template and get that information from you. If they've not, have they done the appeal piece already? That would have had to have taken place first.
Yeah, I can't be sure. I'm documenting some of the questions so that I can follow up with these folks and make sure they are getting what they need, or at least communicating to you if they're not.
Right.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm having to depend on my ears for questions. I'm trying to find them in here so I can read them.
Yeah, so this they dropped.
Sure I'm answering those correctly.
Yeah, that last one was actually dropped in the Q&A. The other ones were dropped in the chat. So,
oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the Q&A over here.
And yeah, she responded that an appeal has been completed for the variance due to audit. Why aren't the reps aware of the process? It seems as though this is me talking now. It just seems like they need some additional information to be able to communicate with the provider, so they're not running around trying to get an answer on that. Yeah, we'll follow up on this one. Sheila, I would encourage you to reach out to Mary as well. Feel free to copy me if you want to, just so we have a history of it, and we can make sure that that gets resolved. Let's see here. What other questions do you have, folks? Last opportunity to ask, please do. You know, I've asked this of the other payers earlier in the week, just as it relates to the normal process of accessing the portal, following up on claims, escalating claims, consistent requests for information that you don't think are needed. We've had a couple people mention a claim denying for no pre-authorization, when in a lot of cases no pre-authorization is required. You know, those types of issues, if you know this, it's important that that this isn't addressed as on a per account basis. I mean, if this is inherent for all of you as providers, then you know, certainly it's important to make this information known, so that if there is an issue in the system, they can do what they need to do to get that corrected. So I encourage you to do that. I'm not seeing any other questions come in. We covered a lot of information. I will be pushing this information out. For some of you that are familiar with our payer forms in the past, we've put this information on the chapter website. We're not able to do that anymore. There have been some additional restrictions. So, but I am, however, going to make it available to everybody that registered for the meeting. So, and Mary, I'll also let you know who the participants were today, so that you've got that information. But
thank you.
We've got a really good representation from the state, I think, today. We had just under 10,000 attend. No, I'm kidding. We had we had a good number of attendees today. We had right around 65 that joined in today. So I know some of them were in a group setting and whatnot. So pretty good turnout, right, as far as representation from around the state. But just from the things that I hear, you know, communication, as you know, is the key. I know a lot of the payers have been driving providers to their portals, and it's just making sure that those portals are providing the information that they need, and then getting requests back from the payers when the contracts or the requirements don't seem to be there for that information that they're requesting. So just consistency, throughout the system. So we appreciate your participation. I don't know that we have any additional questions at this time. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. There are a lot of resources made available to you through the different payers. I encourage you to use them. If you're not comfortable with them, look for some of the training tools that they have available on their sites, or get with some of your coworkers or your peers at other organizations and get comfortable with that. But what you're doing is really important, we know, to your organization, and just really encourage you to stay on top of it and do what you can to be part of the solution. And we thank you for your participation today. Tomorrow, we're going to have presentation from Centene, which is primarily going to be about Ambetter. And then following Ambetter, and I'm sorry, but we're going to need to set that up as a separate link. We're going to need to drop off that call and call back up for the Humana call at 2 o'clock. And that is, I'm told, is probably going to be largely discussing their Medicare Advantage plan. But there'll be some other questions certainly that can be asked during that time. These sessions will be recorded and will be put out on the Georgia HFMA chapter YouTube page. So look for that in the coming days. And if nobody else has any questions, I think we can call it a day. Mary, again, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you all. I hope you have a great day. I look forward to talking with you soon.
For sure. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.